I'd only joked, half seriously, about wanting to play around with the school's goddess. The next second, I was bound to a blackmail system. Point my phone at someone, snap a photo, and instantly uncover their deepest secrets. In the following scenes, Zhang Yining, the campus queen, was forced to meet me in the abandoned school's stairwell. What do you want? Her voice trembled, clinging to one last futile resistance. You've got my leverage, so it's for... She meant money, but she'd already been mocked for that. She meant affection. But his earlier words, do you even think you're worthy? He saw her, still rang in her ears. Lucian advanced step by step, cornering her against the wall. Their faces were so close now they could feel each other's breath. He lowered his head, studying her pale, terrified face, his gaze laced with cruel amusement. What do I want? He gave a soft, chilling laugh. Didn't I make that perfectly clear? Before she could react, he seized her lips. Her eyes flew wide. Shock, humiliation, disbelief, all flooding in at once. Instinctively, she shoved at his chest, but his muscles were like stone, unmoving. Her strength, pathetic against his physical rating of 80, was no more than an ant straining against a mountain. His kiss wasn't tender, it wasn't romantic, it was raw, brutal, absolute. A conquest, not a connection. Minutes later, he finally pulled back, just enough to watch her gasp for air, her cheeks burning with unnatural heat. She sucked in ragged breaths, tears spilling freely down her cheeks. You bastard, that was my first kiss. Her voice cracked, broken, pleading, utterly powerless. First kiss? Lucian's smirk deepened, eyes glinting with mockery. Oh, how honored I am. He dragged out the words, savoring them. First kiss, how does it feel? Better than your forged transcript, I hope. Each syllable cut like a blade. Enough talk. His patience snapped. His voice turned glacial. Take it off yourself, or shall I help? His gaze dropped to her white camisole, cold, clinical, unblinking. Let's see what surprise our Class 3 Chinese department's golden girl has tucked beneath that skirt today. Shame crashed over her like a tidal wave. She bit her lower lip, hard, until she tasted blood. She knew resistance was useless. Only pain would follow. I'll take it off. Her whisper was barely audible, trembling with despair. But after you get what you want, will you delete that PowerPoint? A cold, mirthless laugh. Zhang Yining, you still don't understand your position, do you? You have no right to negotiate anything with me. He raised his phone again, thumb hovering over the screen. One more word, and I send it now. To every student, every faculty member, even your father's colleagues at work. No, she screamed, then collapsed into silence. I'll do it. Right now. I'll do it. Please, don't send it. She squeezed her eyes shut. Tears carved glistening tracks down her cheeks as her shaking fingers fumbled with the straps of her camisole. Obedience. That was all she had left. Lucian watched her submission with a twisted surge of satisfaction. The humiliations, the injustices he'd endured in his past life. Here, now, they found their release. Without another word, he stepped forward and hoisted her up, cradling her waist in one smooth motion. She cried out in surprise, instinctively wrapping her arms around his neck, her body rigid as marble. He set her down on a dusty, forgotten classroom desk. The chill of its surface made her shiver anew. Then his hand rose, slow, deliberate, and lifted the hem of her fun-use white pleated skirt. She kept her head bowed, long hair veiling her face. All he saw were clenched fists and shoulders trembling uncontrollably. See, can you go easy? She whispered, so faint it was nearly swallowed by the silence. See, can you go easy? She whispered, so faint it was nearly swallowed by the silence. How long had passed? Half an hour? Longer? Target psychological defenses breached. Control value increased. Current control value, 30-100. Reward unlocked. Sanda, beginner proficiency. The system's chime echoed in Lucian's mind, followed by a flood of combat knowledge. He flexed his wrists, rolled his shoulders. His body now moved with sharper coordination, greater economy of force. He straightened his clothes, then looked down at Zhang Yining, still slumped over the desk, shoulders hitching in silent sobs. Her camisole lay crumpled beside her. Her skirt was hiked up, exposing a slender, pale thigh. Suddenly she jerked upright, tears streaking her face, eyes blazing with fury, shame, and something else, something unreadable. "Lu, swine, you sick, disgusting, perverted bastard," he snorted. "Perverted?" He strolled forward, gripped her chin, and forced her gaze upward. This is just the opening act. Don't worry. Tonight holds far more perverse surprises." "What?" Her face drained of all color. "Tonight? But you said—" "I said for now," he corrected, tilting his head with feigned innocence. "I never said forever, and I certainly never said once was enough." He released her chin and slapped her cheek. Light, mocking, degrading. "You really thought forging your way into Yan University and ruining someone else's future would cost this little? You broke your promise." Her voice shattered. "You swore you wouldn't leak that PowerPoint." "Oh, I did keep my word," he interrupted, grinning like a demon. "I promised not to tell anyone. Never said I wouldn't post it on the campus forum or drop it in our class group chat. See? Still honorable." She stared at his smug, shameless face and nearly choked on her own rage. She finally understood. She was trapped. Utterly. Irrevocably. He had no intention of letting her go. "Enough crying," he snapped, waving a dismissive hand. "Waste of time. Scan this." He pulled out his green bubble QR code. She blinked, dazed. "What?" "You heard me. Add me. Then transfer 10,000 yuan, Sostro pocket money." "What?" She couldn't believe it. You just..." Words failed her. Greedy, grasping, shameless. He'd taken everything and now demanded payment on top. Refusing? He arched a brow, thumb hovering over his screen, ready to open the forum. "No!" She lunged to stop him, panic overriding pride. Hands shaking, she scanned the code, added him, then, with teeth gritted and soul burning, sent the 10,000. "There we go." He glanced at the confirmation, pocketed his phone. "That's better. Remember, book a hotel tonight. Send me the address. Try anything clever." "You're disgusting!" She spat, voice thick with contempt. "You're living off women! Steer his daughters eating soft rice!" "Thank you," he replied, utterly unfazed, even smiling. "It's an honor to eat your soft rice, class queen. See you tonight." And with that, he walked out, without looking back. "Stop!" she shrieked, voice raw, hysterical. "Lucian, remember this. If anyone else finds out about tonight, I swear, I will destroy you." He paused at the doorway, slowly turned. His eyes, frostbitten, ancient, merciless, locked onto hers. Zhang Yining flinched, chilled to the bone. "Humph!" A dangerously sharp smile curled at the corner of his mouth. "Little bitch, give you a little color, and you think you can open your own dye shop? Threaten me? Do you really think you still have the right to threaten me?" His voice was low, yet it carried a bone-chilling lethality that shattered Zhang Yining's last shred of courage like glass. She collapsed onto her desk, utterly mute, only raw terror and bottomless despair left behind. "Do you really think you still have the right to threaten me?" This chapter lays groundwork for character development. Impatient readers may skip ahead. It took several long moments after Luke Zhuan vanished around the stairwell before Zhang Yining finally regained the faintest glimmer of strength. She braced herself against the cold, damp wall and slowly straightened up. Her gaze dropped to her favorite pink and white pleated skirt, the fabric rumpled, stained with a small, darkening patch of crimson already beginning to dull at the edges. Humiliation, pain, terror, and above all, a crushing, absolute sense of annihilation, flooded in like a breached dam, sweeping away every last defense she'd tried so hard to hold together. She couldn't hold back any longer. Dropping to her knees, she buried her face in her arms, muffling sobs that trembled through the cramped storage closet. Why? She'd been heaven's chosen daughter, class beauty, star student, an incoming freshman at Yan University, poised on the threshold of brilliance. How had everything shattered so suddenly, by a boy she'd never even noticed before? How had he seized a secret powerful enough to destroy her life, and then done this to her? That boy, Lucian, his eyes, his words, his sheer, suffocating dominance, they clung to her like a waking nightmare. Especially that final warning, laced with icy, unblinking murder. She had no doubt, if she dared resist again, or even think of threatening him, the demon would cast her into hell without hesitation. She cried until her throat burned raw. Only then did she lift her head. Crying wouldn't save her now. She had to get out. Now. She wiped her face roughly with her sleeve, snatched up the discarded camisole flung across the floor, and tugged it on haphazardly. Then, with trembling fingers, she smoothed her skirt, trying desperately to hide the damning stain. At the door, she moved like a thief, cracking it just wide enough to peer out. The hallway was empty. Faint laughter and muffled chatter drifted from somewhere far off. Satisfied, for now, she sucked in a sharp breath and bolted, head down, limping as fast as she could toward the dormitory building. She didn't dare look up, not at familiar faces, not at anyone who might see her broken, humiliated, undone. But dread has a way of fulfilling itself. Just as she turned onto the narrow path between the teaching building and dorms, a classmate came walking straight toward her, a cheerful girl, sharp-eyed and quick to notice things. In one glance, she caught the fresh tear tracks on Zhang Yining's cheeks, the unnatural stiffness in her gait, and the way Zhang Yining kept one hand pressed tightly against the back of her skirt. "Hey, Yining, what's wrong? Your eyes are all red, and you look pale," the girl said, stepping forward with genuine concern. Zhang Yining's heart lurched violently. She nearly screamed. Instinct screamed run, but her legs were leaden. Panicked, she shook her head wildly. "Nothing, just stomachache." The girl's eyes flickered downward, to where Zhang Yining's hand still clutched the skirt, and her expression softened instantly, tinged with quiet sympathy. "Oh, you're on your period, aren't you? Looks like it leaked through the back of your skirt." Zhang Yining's face flared crimson, then drained white in an instant. She wanted the floor to swallow her whole. Don't worry, the girl chirped, already shrugging off her light athletic jacket. "Here, wrap this around your waist for now. Go change fast. You must have had a heavy flow, huh?" Don't worry, the girl chirped, already shrugging off her light athletic jacket. "Here, wrap this around your waist for now. Go change fast. You must have had a heavy flow, huh? Ugh, being a girl is so much trouble." Zhang Yining's mind went blank. No time for explanations, no room for shame. She grabbed the jacket blindly, stammering a garbled thank you, before tying it tightly around her waist, hiding the stain, hiding the truth, hiding herself. Then she spun and fled, head down, shoulders hunched, sprinting toward the dorm like something ancient and ravenous chased her. Watching her vanish down the path, the girl sighed and shook her head. That girl, wearing light-colored skirts during that time. Seriously, what is with her confidence? Meanwhile, Lucian strolled back to the dorm at his leisure, calm, unhurried, even faintly amused. His first target was already under control. His body had been strengthened, and he'd pocketed 10,000 yuan in petty cash. It meant little to him, but the sheer ease of taking it, of turning the tables on the goddess who'd once towered over him in another life, that filled him with a dark, gleeful satisfaction. He pushed open the dorm door. A familiar cocktail of sweat, instant noodles, and cheap air freshener hit him full in the face. Same old place. 4 beds, 4 desks, sneakers scattered across the floor, damp clothes hanging limp on the balcony. In his past life, this room had been his hopeful new beginning. But after the scandal broke, the fake evidence exposed, it became the epicenter of his deepest shame. Aside from his parents, thousands of miles away, no one believed him. No one helped. Not even these 3 roommates who'd shared meals, jokes, late-night talks. Yet when the storm hit, they'd rush to distance themselves, piling on accusations, signing joint petitions demanding he be evicted. Their hollow smiles, their cold, calculating eyes. He remembered them all, vivid as yesterday. His gaze swept the room. By the window sat Chen Min, literature major, department heartthrob, wearing headphones, eyes glued to his laptop screen, fingers hammering furiously at the keyboard. The other 2 bunks were empty. Zhao Qin and Lu Ming hadn't returned yet. Chen Min, handsome, polished, effortlessly popular thanks to his looks. His sister, Chen Shui, was a finance major and reigning department beauty. Together, they were campus royalty. In his past life, Chen Min had whispered the loudest, stirred the most poison, and led the charge to isolate him. Zhao Qin, real estate tycoon's son, flashy, arrogant, openly contemptuous of poor students like him. He'd been the first to echo Chen Min's demand for eviction. Lu Ming, gym rat, thick-necked and muscle-bound, girlfriend rotation faster than laundry day. Rumor had it his personal life was a mess, and he wasn't shy about using his size to intimidate others. Lu Ming hadn't spoken much back then, but the disdain in his eyes, the deliberate distance, Lucian remembered that too. Good. All present and accounted for. A cold, razor-thin smile touched Lucian's lips. Rebirth means reckoning. Grudges settled. Debts collected. And these 3 dear roommates? None would be spared. Let's begin with the one closest to him. Lucian walked to his desk, set down his backpack, and casually pulled out his phone. His thumb slid, almost imperceptibly, across the screen, framing Chin Min's focused, gaming locked back. Click. A silent virtual shutter snapped. Chin Min's eyes locked onto his own phone screen and froze. When he saw that photo, the professor's image, he choked mid-breath, as if someone had slammed a fist into his windpipe. Panic flashed, wild, desperate. Then he lunged, fingers clawing forward like a drowning man grasping for air. Give it to me. Lucian was ready. A flick of his wrist, fluid, effortless, and Chin Min's grab missed by inches. Lucian didn't even sway. His reflexes, his strength, enhanced, honed, unmatched, were light years beyond a game-addicted, physically depleted college kid. Ah, Lucian stepped back, slipping the phone into his pocket with a lazy grin. Such precious material. Why would I just hand it over? I'll keep it safe. Very safe. He paused, watching Chin Min's face crumple, his composure shattering like thin ice, and added, slow and honeyed. Though, who knows? Maybe someday, if I'm feeling bored, or just really bad, I'll post it online. Campus forums, Taiba, Weibo, Douyin. Let the whole internet take a good long look and judge for themselves. Skay. A high school student drugs his female teacher, films it, then blackmails her? Now that's a scandal. Big enough for the top trending topic? Hot enough to break the internet? What do you think? Chin Min's face wasn't merely pale, it was corpse white. His whole body trembled uncontrollably. Cold sweat streamed down his temples and soaked into his collar. He stared at Lucian, teeth grinding together with a sharp, grating sound. Lucian. He sucked in a ragged breath, trying, and failing, to steady his voice. It still cracked with raw fear, trembling like a plucked wire. Let's talk this through, calmly. What do you want? Name it. Anything. I'll do anything I can. He knew, now, with chilling clarity, the darkest secret he'd buried deep, the one he'd always believed unassailable, was now clutched tight in the hands of this roommate he'd never taken seriously. There was no path forward but surrender. All he prayed for was that Lucian wanted money, or something else negotiable. Anything. As long as the evidence stayed buried, as long as his reputation and future remained intact, he'd pay whatever price demanded. Lucian watched him crumble, and felt nothing but pure, unadulterated satisfaction. He strolled back to his chair, dropped into it with deliberate nonchalance, and even crossed one leg over the other, relaxed as if catching up with an old friend. He lifted his gaze, gave Chin Min a slow, knowing look, and smiled, a quiet, razor-edged curve of his lips. Chin Min, I heard you have a younger sister? Chinzu? The bloom of the finance department? Heard she's far more stunning than you, the so-called campus heartthrob. True? Chin Min jerked upright, eyes instantly bloodshot, every trace of color vanishing from his face. It was as if Lu Sujian had stomped on his most vulnerable nerve. He roared to his feet, voice cracking with fury. Fuck you! Lucian, you dare lay a finger on my sister? I swear! But his threat hung in the air, hollow and weightless. Lucian didn't flinch, didn't even lift his eyelids. He simply pulled out his phone again, scrolling lazily across the screen, as if skimming headlines. Whoa, what's all the shouting for? His tone stayed smooth, almost amused. Just making conversation. Though, come to think of it, what if I accidentally slipped? Hit send on these files? Tagged Yan University's official account, and your sister Chen Zui's too? He paused, just long enough to savor the sight of Chin Min frozen mid-rage, jaw clenched, fists shaking, eyes burning with helpless, impotent fury. Whoa, what's all the shouting for? His tone stayed smooth, almost amused. Just making conversation. Though, come to think of it, what if I accidentally slipped? Hit send on these files? Tagged Yan University's official account, and your sister Chen Sui's too? I'll kill you! Rationality snapped. Protective instinct overrode terror. Chin Min lunged, not like a man, but like a rabid beast, arms wide, fingers clawing toward Lucian's throat. What met him wasn't resistance, not even a struggle, just a foot. Lucian didn't shift his posture, not really, just lifted his right leg, casual as stretching, and delivered a clean, brutal front kick, square to Chin Min's solar plexus. Thump. The impact punched the air from Chin Min's lungs like a freight train hitting a wall. Pain exploded through his abdomen, electric and absolute. His eyes bulged, his spine arched violently backward, and then he flew, limbs flailing, like a puppet with its strings cut. He crashed onto the floor with a wet guttural groan, curled fetal, face purpling, mouth gaping, but silent. Only choked, ragged gasps escaped him. Huh? Huh? Until, seconds later, he rolled sideways and vomited violently, acidic bile splattering across the tiles. Lucian lowered his foot, stood, and walked over. He stopped directly above Chen Min, crumpled, twitching, broken, and looked down. His expression was ice, empty, utterly devoid of mercy. Trash, he spat. A thick, glistening glob landed squarely on Chen Min's cheek, the same face once praised as handsome, now slack with shock and shame. Chen Min stiffened, humiliation surging through him like live current, but he couldn't even raise a hand to wipe it away. You still want to fight? Lucian's voice dripped with mockery. He loomed, arms loose at his sides, gaze fixed on Chen Min like he was examining roadkill. Chen Min's face cycled between crimson and ash gray. Shame, terror, agony, twisting together until his vision blurred. He knew with absolute certainty he was finished. Lucian knew everything. That secret, the one that could bury him alive. Lucian reached into his pocket again, pulled out his phone, unlocked it with one thumb, and scrolled slowly, deliberately, like browsing a menu of options. So, he mused, tilting the screen just enough for Chen Min to catch a glimpse. The damning PowerPoint slides, the draft post hovering inches from publish. Should I tag Yan University first? Let them see what kind of talent they've nurtured? Or go straight to the Beijing Municipal Public Security Bureau? Let them decide. Do your little activities meet the threshold for criminal investigation?